Hey, restaurant pros, can you believe it? It's 2022. We know what 2020 did to our industry. It was like a raging wildfire. We know what 2021 did to our industry. It brought customers back to our doors, gave us a labor shortage, rising wages, rising food prices, and customers who were as mean as hell. Now that 2022 is upon us, I want to share with you my 5 predictions you'll want to know about. I'm going to share them with you in just a minute. I'm David Scott Peters, restaurant expert, coach, and creator of the Restaurant Prosperity Formula, and I've been coaching restaurant owners since 2003. I'm really glad you're here to learn. Today, I want to share with you my 5 biggest predictions for the restaurant industry in 2022. But before I get into that, if you like tips like this, do me a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, oh yeah, that bell so you're notified when my next video tip comes out. And for more tips and tricks for running a profitable restaurant or to hear restaurant owner success stories, make sure you tune into my podcast, Restaurant Prosperity Formula, found on all the popular podcasting services. So let's get into it. My 5 biggest predictions for 2022 for the restaurant industry. Number 1, it's that darn food cost, right? Our food cost is rising at a record pace. Well, the truth of the matter is, we've already seen huge increases on our menus in the last year. Heck, 2021, the USDA said away from home food prices rose 4 to 5%. And in 2022, they predict it's going to rise again between 3 and 4%. So our menu, what we're charging our customers, is going up. Now, the Consumer Price Index in November of 2021, the most recent stats that I can grab, was up 6.8%. So inflation's happening. It's here. We're feeling it. And the truth of the matter is, our menus are going to have to change. See, there's a new reality for the restaurant industry. We've seen it slowly happening. But now, with that increase in prices that came up so quickly on our side, and we passed it on to the consumers so we could survive what really is just a dumpster fire for our industry. The truth is, we're starting to have our prices rise to a level where the price may not equal the value of the product we're selling. You understand what I'm saying? Like, we may be getting to a point where we're charging our guests and there's going to be enough pushback. They go, I paid this much for this product. It's not worth it to me. I'm not going to pay it anymore, meaning I'm not going to walk in your door. I'm going to start to cook at home more. So in order to combat this, we've got to really look at our menus. Depending on your concept, not telling you to completely change your concept, but you may be looking at more items sauté, where we can take some sauces and we can put pasta together, or vegetables and proteins, and whip something up very quickly, very, handmade, very fresh, wonderful, high perceived value that we can raise the price on, but it's a lower food cost. It could be pizza, it could be flatbreads, it could be something that you can add or change to your menu. Some concepts are actually going to have to make major changes to their menus. I've seen it. I've been coaching members for a long time. In the last 2 years, I have seen my members have to make some major changes just to make it. Our industry is changing all the time, and 2022 is no exception. Number 2, that, those shortages with all that product, we didn't know if our product would show up because of transportation needs. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, based on what I'm seeing, by mid-year, those product shortages will kind of be alleviated. Now, don't get me wrong. There's still going to be those normal commodity challenges we see every year. Like all of a sudden there was a freeze in Florida and we can't get lemons and limes and oranges and so on. We had mad cow disease in Canada and now we can't get beef and so on. Those things are still going to happen, man. We are peppered with those every single year. But those shortages, by mid-year, we should be back to normal. See, the reports show that just overall, the consumer demand has peaked for just about everything. Now, does that really affect us as restaurants? Sure it does. People, they're producing for everything from grocery stores and small markets and gas stations to us. And where that product is being shipped to as they predict demand, it matters. Also, they're showing that most of our manufacturers of any kind of product, they're getting their inventories back up to pre-COVID levels. See, we had this shift to on-demand inventories, and COVID and the shortages, it really threw that for a ringer, right? We didn't have those higher inventory levels. They brought it down and kind of made it on demand. Well, that is shifting away because that didn't work. We're also seeing that the government is working on it, as well as all the different companies of increasing their shipping capacity. So again, more and more trucks, more and more freights, more and more ships, more and more getting all the containers unloaded. So we're seeing a big push to get that economy back running. So again, it's not as a big a problem come middle of next year. The other part I want you to look at is this. They're showing, as far as the statistics are showing, that global trade growth is predicted to rise 5.4%. Now that's a good thing for us, right? Because a lot of the food that our farms and all of the different things we do for producing food, we export. And so if demand is high, they're going to produce high. I don't see, again, the shortages, but it may be mid-year of 2022. Now let's talk about labor. Number 3, the shortage that we are living with right now. Well, I'm going to tell you, we're going to continue to struggle. But I'm also going to tell you that with my members, fourth quarter, the end of 2021, a lot of my members started to find themselves getting back to full staffed or really near full staffing. And I think that's going to continue. So the truth of the matter is, we are going to still struggle as an industry, but many of us are going to find our way back to being fully staffed. Plus, we made changes to our labor, reducing prep, changing our menu lineup so we don't need as many cooks, maybe reducing the number of tables. All those things may stay in place, but we're going to have people to run our operations. But do know, unemployment was down to 4.2% in November of 2021. Again, the most recent stats that I could grab. And the truth of the matter is, experts are predicting that we may see rates as low as 3.8% in 2022. That means it's going to continue to be tough for us to find good employees. However, with the changes we made in the industry, we stay with those things. You should be able to be fully staffed as long as we continue to make this happen in our industry, and that is wake up. Treat people like they need to be treated. We continue to focus on becoming an employer of choice with solid wages, good supervision, flexibility in the workplace, positive work environments. This is going to be critical to want to attract people and retain people back in our industry. Number 4, there are going to be some operational trends and changes that I'm going to kind of give you a small list of items that I think are going to happen this year that we need to pay attention to, especially if you're looking to open a restaurant. Drive-throughs. Drive-throughs have been really popular over the last couple of decades, but COVID woke us up as an industry and said, man, if you had a drive-through, you were going to make it if there were any kind of shutdowns or we had less people walking in our doors. See, there's been a trend with drive-throughs for at least a decade where people don't want to get out of their cars. So the truth of the matter is, we're not only going to see more restaurants with drive-throughs, we're going to see more multi-lane drive-throughs because that's how we're going to speed people through. They don't want to get out of their cars. In the same respect, third-party delivery is here to stay. While I'm hoping beyond belief that there can be some sort of regulation to make sure that we can make sure we're not getting screwed so badly at whatever the commissions are for these third-party delivery apps. But the truth of the matter is, they're here to stay and we need to find a way to work with them. I'm going to tell you that I think more restaurants are going to have smaller footprints. Big restaurants, 300, 400 seat restaurants. Unless you are a big name and you can draw people in, you're near maybe a large event place, meaning like a Disney World or Disneyland or what have you, where there's all these people brought in that don't have anywhere else to eat, maybe that still works. But for most of us, smaller restaurants, so we can, one, have lower rent, we can have fewer employees, we become more efficient. That is going to be something that I think is here to stay. And I think finally, there's going to be a higher use of equipment and maybe even more robotics being adopted in 2022. If the labor shortage has done one thing, it has shined a light that we cannot make it with high labor anymore. We've got to find ways to become more efficient, whether it's equipment that shred chicken for us, to cutting Brussels sprouts, to you name it, to the right holding equipment that we can prep things early and hold them like in an Alto-Shaam or what have you, that it is keeping the temperature and we're not overcooking a product. These things are going to be more and more important now than ever. So look at 2022 as the year where equipment really becomes a pressing issue and something we all do. And finally, number 5, we need multiple revenue streams. More and more restaurants are finding they need higher sales. Create seats that don't exist. Now, while that has been something as long as there've been restaurants, right? Higher the sales, the more ills we hide or we fix. But the truth is, wages are high, food costs is high, our rents are high, we've got new software and all these different services that we have to pay for, and our margins keep shrinking. So we need to outpace our fixed costs by increasing our sales, becoming much more efficient. This ties back to those smaller footprints. Well, we're gonna find more and more restaurants getting into things like drop-off catering. Now, while catering's been a big thing for a lot of restaurants to find revenue, doing the big weddings and things like that may be a thing of the past because of the labor shortage. Maybe leave that to the big catering company, but drop-off catering, where we can shuttle and drop off our food and not have to have human beings there from our team to run it, is going to be a major, major thing to be done. So look at trends more like that. Delivery, whether it's a third-party delivery apps or doing it on your own, or there's companies like DoorDash that are tying in with Toast and other apps, allowing you to use their delivery people as a fee instead of a commission. No matter whether you do it yourself, full third party, or you're using them, as kind of a white label, delivery is here to stay. We've spent 2 years of everyone in America sitting on their ass and getting on an app and having it delivered to them. That's not going to change. And don't forget, a lot of us are charging more for those apps and people are still ordering there. Last but not least, the multiple revenue stream, and I'm not an expert in this by any means, but it is here to stay, and that's ghost kitchens / delivery concepts, where you are truly taking your capacity, the excess capacity in your kitchen, and saying, we're going to basically open a second restaurant that is delivery only, where we can turn it on, turn it off anytime we want to, and get those extra sales with the kitchen capacity I have right now. Well, I'm gonna tell you this, in order to see the trends and react to the changes in our industry, you as an owner must be able to spend time working on your business strategically on a weekly basis. That means you can't be flipping burgers, you can't be serving tables, cleaning tables, delivering product. You have to have time in your week to sit there and focus on your business, lead your team, and say, what direction do we need to go? Because there's lots of outside factors. How are you going to react to it? Now, whether my predictions are dead on or way off doesn't change the fact that there will be changes in our industry. We will see them, and only those who are truly leading their restaurants forward will be able to roll with those changes. If you're tired of not being able to leave your restaurant because no one else knows how to run it, I want to make sure you know it doesn't have to be that way. You can leave your restaurant. It is possible to build a team of people who know how you want the restaurant to run, with trained and responsible people in place. You can give yourself time away. What would you do if you had time away from your restaurant? Would you sleep better? Would your relationships improve? Would you feel more relaxed? These are all things you deserve to experience as a business owner. It's why we own our own businesses. If you would like to learn how to own a restaurant that doesn't depend on you to be successful, click the link in the description to watch a free video to learn exactly what you have to do. Also, be sure to subscribe to get my weekly tips and watch these 2 videos to get more information and guidance for running a successful restaurant.